Welcome to Cost Saver Conversations. I'm Angela, and I ask the practical questions so you can quickly understand what matters. Today, I'm joined by Assad.
Hi, Angela. We are unpacking Lisa versus pension for your first home in 2026, mistakes, hidden costs, and smarter choices today, and tying it back to the wider cost saver ecosystem, including tools like Lisa versus Pension First Home Optimizer UK, so you can turn insights into action quickly.
Just a heads up before we dive in, we are your synthetic hosts. We are great with numbers, but as AI, we can sometimes be confidently wrong. Think of us as the digital versions of your most knowledgeable, slightly caffeinated friends.
Exactly. Treat this chat as a smart estimate only, not as professional financial guidance. Always check important details with official sources or a qualified expert before making any big decisions.
Welcome back to the Cost Saver podcast. Today, we're getting into something that, honestly, it trips up so many first-time buyers. The whole Lisa versus pension thing for buying your first home. Aside, I feel like on the surface, it sounds really simple, but then you start actually looking at the details and it's just,
Yeah, look, it feels straightforward, right? People go, oh, I want to buy a house, so Lisa, obviously. And for a lot of first-time buyers in 2026, that instinct is correct. The Lisa does win on accessibility and tax-free withdrawal, but there are these catches that they get people every year. The property cap, the penalty, the age 40 deadline.
right.
And I think the thing people miss is it's not really about which account gives you more money in some abstract sense. It's about when you can actually get your hands on it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. So let's actually, before we get into all the traps and mistakes, let's just do a quick refresher on what each account actually is, because I think some listeners might be a bit fuzzy on the basics.
Sure. So a lifetime ISA, you can contribute up to $4,000 a year. You have to be between 18 and 50 to contribute, and the government tops up your contributions by 25%. So that's up to £1,000 free every tax year. And you can use it for a qualifying first home or wait until 60 and access it for retirement.
Okay.
A pension, by contrast, it's a long-term retirement wrapper. You get tax relief at your marginal rate, employer contributions if you're in a workplace scheme, funds grow shielded from income tax and capital gains. But the catch is you cannot touch a penny until minimum pension age, which is rising to 57 in 2028.
So the pension is just off the table for actually buying a house.
Completely. And that's why I always say the real question isn't Lisa or pension. It's where should I direct my next pound of savings given that I want to buy a home in the next few years? That framing it changes everything, honestly.
I hadn't thought about it like that. So it's not about rating existing pots. It's about where the fresh money goes.
Exactly. And so the Lisa bonus, that 25%, it's paid monthly on contributions. You put in $4,000 over the tax year, HMRC puts in $1,000. And here's the thing that's kind of interesting. That bonus is mathematically identical to basic rate tax relief on a pension. Like a basic rate taxpayer pays $80 net into a pension, it gets grossed up to $100. Same 25% uplift. The difference is what happens when you take it out.
Ah, okay. But for higher rate taxpayers, the pension is more generous going in, right?
Yeah, so a $100 pension contribution only costs a higher rate taxpayer $60 net. That's effectively a 66.7% uplift, which is, that's a strong incentive. But it's locked away for decades. And the Lisa for a qualifying home purchase comes out entirely tax-free. Pension, only 25% is tax-free, the rest gets taxed as income.
Right, right. Okay, so let's get into the traps because this is the stuff that actually costs people money. The property cap. It hasn't moved since 2017?
No, it hasn't. And this is, Angela, I would say this is the single biggest Lisa trap in 2026. $450,000. That cap has just sat there while house prices have climbed substantially. If you buy a property above that threshold, you cannot use your Lisa without triggering the 25% withdrawal penalty.
Wait, and the penalty isn't just losing the bonus, is it?
No, that's what people don't. It's a 25% charge on the entire balance. So it reclaims the bonus plus about 6.25% of your own money. On a $20,000 Lisa, that's a $5,000 hit. You're left with $15,000 instead of the $20,000 you'd built up. And that's not theoretical. This lands on people every year.
Oh, wow. That's actually worse than I thought. So you're losing your own money on top of the bonus.
Yup. And the regions where this bites hardest? I mean, London average asking prices have been above $500,000 for years. Commuter Belt, Surrey, Hertfordshire, Berkshire, frequently over the cap. Bath, Bristol, Oxford, Cambridge, even pockets of Manchester and Edinburgh, two-bed flats are approaching that limit now.
So if you're saving for a home in any of those areas, you really need to be checking current asking prices before committing to a Lisa.
100%. Because if there's a realistic chance you'll buy above $450,000, the Lisa becomes a much more constrained tool. You'd either need to budget below the cap or just accept the penalty, which is horrible.
Yeah, okay. What about the age deadline? Because I've heard this catches people out too.
So this is, the age 40 thing. You can only open a Lisa between ages 18 and 39. You can keep contributing until 50, but if you didn't open one before your 40th birthday, the door is closed permanently. And what happens is people in their late 30s go, oh, I'll open one when I'm ready to buy, not realizing they're racing a hard deadline.
Oh, so even if you're not sure you're going to buy?
Just open one. Open it with £1. Literally takes about 10 minutes online, costs nothing, starts the 12-month clock, and keeps the option open. Even if your plans change completely, you've still got the retirement at 60 option.
That's a brilliant tip. And actually, the 12-month clock, that's another trap, isn't it?
It is. You have to have held the Lisa for at least 12 months before using it for a home purchase. So if you open one the day before you exchange contracts, HMRC treats any withdrawal as unauthorized. Boom, 25% penalty. It's one of the most expensive timing errors first-time buyers make, and it's completely avoidable with a bit of forward planning.
God, that would be devastating. You're so close to completing, and then...
And then you get hit with that. Yeah, it happens more than you think, honestly.
Okay, so what about higher earners who hear 40% tax relief on pensions and think, well, that must be better?
Yeah, this is a really common mistake. For retirement, the pension usually does beat the Lisa for higher rate taxpayers. But for a near-term house deposit, it's almost never true because you can't access pension funds before 57. Like, the honest comparison for a higher rate taxpayer saving for a home is put $4,000 into a Lisa, get a $1,000 bonus, withdraw $5,000 tax-free for the deposit. Or put $4,000 net into a pension, which grosses up to $6,667 after higher rate relief, and access exactly zero of it for the house purchase.
Zero? That's quite the comparison.
Right? And there's this example I always think of. Priya from Reading, software engineer earning £62,000. She'd been funneling extra savings into her workplace pension because of the 40% relief. And when she actually sat down to plan a 2027 purchase, she realized her usable deposit hadn't grown at all in tax-advantaged form. Like, at all.
Oh, no.
So she switched to maxing her Lisa at $4,000 a year while keeping the employer pension match, didn't ditch the pension entirely, and she'll have around $21,000 in usable Lisa money, including bonuses. The pension didn't disappear. She just stopped overfunding it for a purpose it literally couldn't serve.
That's actually really reassuring as a framework. So the stack both strategy, max the Lisa for the house, pension for retirement?
If you've got the capacity, yeah, that's usually the smartest approach. Max the Lisa at $4,000 for the deposit, funnel additional savings into the pension. Best of both worlds, kind of.
Okay. Now, choosing the right type of Lisa. Cash versus stocks and shares. How do you think about that?
So this depends almost entirely on your timeline, and people get this wrong all the time. If you're buying within 1 to 3 years, cash Lisa. Markets are volatile over short periods, and you do not want a 20% drawdown 3 months before exchange. If you're buying in sort of 4 to 7 years, stocks and shares usually outperforms, but only if you can stomach the volatility. And if it's for retirement at 60, stocks and shares, almost always.
So it's the container versus what's inside.
Exactly. The LISA is just a wrapper. What matters is what's inside and whether that matches your time horizon. And I should say, you can switch providers, but it takes weeks. So set it up properly from the start rather than trying to fix it later. Have I explained that clearly?
Yeah, crystal clear. Now, hidden costs, because the headline numbers look clean, but the reality is messier, right?
Oh yeah. So stocks and shares leases typically charge a platform fee of 0.25% to 0.45% per year, plus fund charges of 0.10% to 0.75%. And over a 10-year horizon, the difference between total fees of 0.7% versus 0.3% on a $20,000 pot can cost you $700 or more in lost growth. Pensions, workplace ones especially, are often cheaper, around 0.3% to 0.5% all in because they're negotiated at scale.
Huh, I wouldn't have guessed that gap was that significant.
Yeah, it adds up. And then there's the stamp duty interaction, which is kind of fiddly. First-time buyer stamp duty relief applies up to £625,000 in 2026, but full relief is only on properties up to $425,000. The LISA cap at $450,000 means there's this small window where you get the LISA bonus but only partial stamp duty relief. It's a bit of a weird overlap.
That is fiddly. Okay, so when does the pension actually beat the LISA? Because we should be honest about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So a few scenarios. 1. You're already over 40 and never opened a LISA. Doors closed, pensions your main tax-advantaged option. 2. You're a higher or additional rate taxpayer with a long retirement horizon and the house deposit is already sorted through other savings. 3, and this is a big one, your employer offers matching contributions.
Right.
Because free money from an employer match usually beats the LISA bonus pound for pound. Never skip the employer match. Like, if your workplace pension matches up to, say, 5% of salary, that's a 100% return before any tax relief or investment growth. It beats every LISA comparison on the table.
Wait, really? 100% return?
Yeah, I mean, you put in 5%, they put in 5%. That's your money doubled before it even gets invested. It's hard to beat that.
Fair enough. What about if you're planning to buy above the cap or salary sacrificing?
Right, so if you plan to buy above $450,000, the lease's cap makes it less useful, and a pension at least serves your retirement. And salary sacrifice, the national insurance savings on top of income tax relief can make pension contributions exceptionally efficient for higher earners. So there are definitely scenarios where the pension wins.
So, for someone in their 20s or 30s who wants a home eventually, what would you say is the priority order?
Okay, so roughly. First, clear high-interest debt. It costs more than savings earn. Second, capture the full employer pension match. That's non-negotiable free money. Third, open a LISA before 40 and contribute up to $4,000 a year if home ownership is realistic and you'll buy under the cap. Fourth, top up pension beyond a match for retirement. And fifth, use a regular ISA for flexible savings beyond the $4,000 LISA limit.
And if you're buying above the cap, you'd swap steps 3 and 4 around?
Exactly, yeah. That hierarchy assumes you're under $450,000. If you won't be, reshuffle.
Okay, and 2026 rule changes? Anything people need to know?
So the LISA cap stays at $450,000. There's been industry pressure to raise it, but nothing confirmed. Minimum pension age stays at 55 until April 2028 when it goes to 57. And the frozen income tax thresholds are dragging more people into higher rate territory, which actually makes pension relief relatively more attractive. Oh, and the annual ISA allowance is still $20,000 with the $4,000 LISA limit sitting inside that.
So don't plan around rumors, basically.
Exactly. Plan around the rules as they exist today. If the cap moves, great, adjust then, but don't bet your deposit strategy on speculation.
Sensible. Now, a couple of quick questions that I know listeners always ask. Does any of this affect your credit file?
No, opening a LISA, contributing to a pension, zero impact on your credit score. They're savings products, not borrowing.
And hidden fees? Are there any nasty surprises?
Cash leases from most building societies have no fees beyond the published interest rate. Stocks and shares leases and SIPs charge platform fees, but they're disclosed up front. There's no surprise admin charge that turns up later. So no nasty surprises if you read the terms.
What if someone just never buys a house? Is the money trapped?
No, and I think this reassures a lot of people. Your LISA just becomes a retirement pot you can access tax-free from age 60. It's not wasted money. You can also stop contributing at any time with no penalty. The bonus you've already received stays in the account.
Oh, that's actually really reassuring. So it's kind of a win-win in that sense.
Yeah, sort of. The only locked-in part is that 25% withdrawal charge if you take money out for a non-qualifying reason before 60. But as long as you either buy a qualifying home or wait until 60, you're fine.
Brilliant. Okay, Assad, let's wrap this up. Give us the key takeaways.
Right. So, for most first-time buyers in 2026, the LISA is the right primary vehicle for your deposit, as long as you're buying under £450,000 and you've already secured your employer pension match. The pension wins for retirement, but it cannot help you complete on a flat next spring. The mistakes that actually cost real money are ignoring the property cap, missing the age 40 deadline, picking the wrong LISA type for your timeline, cash when you should invest or vice versa, and just overestimating how interchangeable these wrappers are. Get those right and the choice becomes much, much clearer.
And run your own numbers.
Yeah, always. Because generic advice only goes so far. Your tax band, your employer match, your timeline, your target property price, they all change the answer. Plug your actual figures into a calculator and see the real pound figure outcomes for your situation.
Love it. Assad, thank you. Genuinely really helpful. And to everyone listening, we'll put links in the show notes. Thanks for tuning in. Quick side note, this guide connects with other cost-saver blogs, especially UK Pension Carry Forward Guide for debt payoff avalanche versus snowball guide and tax optimizers versus traditional calculators.
Exactly. And reading those together helps you connect the dots across your household budget, not just this one topic in isolation.
And if you want to apply this immediately, jump into tools like Lisa versus Pension First Home Optimizer UK right after this episode.
Primary sources used here include Young Couple Reviewing Lifetime ISA and Pension Options for, and Lifetime ISA Rules and Bonus Structure, so you can verify the data yourself and stay evidence-led.
That wraps this cost-saver conversation with Angela and Assad. If this helped, share it with someone who could put these ideas to work this week.
Your next step is simple. Try LISA versus Pension First Home Optimizer UK. Then read UK Pension Carry Forward Guide for and use them together to take action today.